Long before Pennywise, Freddy Kruger, or The Ring, there was another story that kept people awake at night, and this one was said to be based on true events. This was a ghost story so famous that a United States president was said to seek this spirit out. From 1817 to 1821, the Bell family of Adams, Tennessee, came under attack by a mostly invisible entity that was able to speak, affect the physical environment, and shapeshift. This spirit has been the inspiration for countless books, movies, and legends over the years. It is one of the oldest ghost stories in American history, and one of the best known poltergeist cases in the world. This is the story of the Bell Witch. Welcome to Paralopedia, your source for what is, isn't, and might be true about paranormal phenomena. This is your place to balance science with faith, where we live in the great wasteland between closed-minded skeptics and mindless believers. I'm Jason, and today we're talking about the Bell Witch. The legend of the Bell Witch started in Adams, Tennessee in 1817. In the early 1800s, John Bell moved his family from North Carolina to a homestead along the Red River in Robertson County, Tennessee. John Bell, an elder in the Red River Baptist Church, was well liked and respected by most in his community. The haunting of the Bell family was said to have started when John Bell Sr. encountered a strange animal in a cornfield on his farm. The animal was described by John as having the body of a dog and the head of a rabbit. Upon seeing this creature, John Bell Sr. shot at it, but it disappeared. Not long after this event, John's daughter, Betsy, observed a strange girl in a green dress swinging from the limbs of an oak tree. Also not long after the sighting of the dog-like creature by John, his son Drew approached an unknown bird perched on a fence that flew off and was said to be of an extraordinary size. Soon after this, the family claimed to hear knocking and gnarling noises outside the house. The noises eventually moved inside the house, and soon the phenomenon grew in intensity as sheets were pulled from the beds while the children slept. The entity also pulled hair and scratched the children, with a particular emphasis on their child Betsy, who was slapped, pinched, and stuck with pins. Not long after this, the entity started speaking and having conversations with the family and their visitors. The entity eventually identified itself as the Witch of Kate Batts. Kate Batts was a neighbor of the Bells that John had supposedly upset in some way. Some say it was a land dispute, but nobody knows for sure. After these events started, the Bells turned to a family friend named James Johnson for help. After retiring for the evening at the Bell home, Johnson was awakened that night by the same phenomenon that they had been experiencing. Soon word of the haunting spread, with some traveling a great distance to see the witch. The apparition began to speak out loud, and was asked, "Who are you, and what do you want?" And the voice answered, "I am a spirit. I was once very happy, but have been disturbed." The spirit offered an explanation of why it had appeared, saying it had shown up because of the disturbance of a Native American burial mound located on the property. After the spirit started to have full conversations with the witnesses, the entity showed it was well acquainted with biblical text. It had also been tested by several visitors to the home, and on several occasions it was said to have knowledge of things that very few knew. John Johnston, the son of James Johnston, devised a test for the witch, something no one outside his family would know. He asked the entity what his Dutch step-grandmother in North Carolina would say to the slaves if she thought they did something wrong. The witch replied, in his grandmother's accent, "Hut tut, what has happened now. At times, the entity was said to show forms of kindness, especially towards Lucy, John Bell's wife. The witch would give Lucy fresh fruit and sing hymns to her. Referring to John Bell Sr. as Old Jack, the witch claimed she intended to kill him, and signaled this intention through curses, threats, and afflictions. John Bell soon fell victim to bouts of strange illness, for which the Bell Witch claimed responsibility. While he was sick in bed, the witch occasionally cursed and attacked him, many times not allowing him to sleep. He later died from poisoning, and the Bell Witch was said to have taken credit for his murder. It is said that at his funeral, the witch could be heard by the attendees, laughing, cursing, and singing drinking songs as John was buried. The most famous account of the Bell Witch is recorded in Richard William Bell's diary, Our Family Trouble. Richard William Bell listed several witnesses in his diary, including General Andrew Jackson, who later became the 17th president. No mention of the Bell Witch was ever made by Jackson himself that I could find in any of his letters, papers, or journal entries. In 1821, the entity told the family it was going to leave, but returned in 7 years in 1828. The witch reportedly returned at this time, with similar activity as before. But this time the family chose not to encourage it, and the witch appeared to leave again. What did the skeptics say? Many say that over the years the legend of the Bell Witch has been exaggerated. For example, the parts about Andrew Jackson going to the Bell's home and witnessing some of the activity. I couldn't find anything about Andrew Jackson mentioning the Bell Witch. Maybe it does exist and I couldn't find it, or maybe it doesn't. Either way, that doesn't make the legend true. Something that took place so long ago has had to have been changed and added to over time. I think there's little doubt about that. What the believers say. This story takes place in the early 1800s, just a little over 100 years removed from the Salem witch trials. Were there ghost stories back then? Of course there were, but society was much different. This took place long before the spiritualism movement later that century, where the idea of ghosts and speaking with them was almost mainstream. I don't know why a family deep in the sticks of Tennessee in the early 1800s would make up a story like this. But then again, why would anyone make up a story like this? And we all know it happens. That being said, these weren't the days of YouTube, social media, and reality TV. I honestly have no idea what the family would have gained from making up such a story. Let me know what you think. Was the Bell Witch mostly real or mostly exaggerated? Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, you'd be awesome if you'd hit that like button, and be sure to subscribe to the channel. Every time someone subscribes and hits the Bell Witch won't be able to poison someone. And that someone might be you. Until next time, remember, there's no reason to be normal when you can be paranormal. Take care.